For much of human history, we lived in small groups. These were hunter-gatherer bands. These groups were nomadic, moving from place to place in search of food and resources. They relied heavily on their environment, hunting animals, and gathering plants to sustain themselves. They were like families, sharing resources and making decisions together. Cooperation was essential for survival, and everyone had a role to play, from the youngest to the oldest members of the group. There were leaders, but their power was limited. Leadership was often based on experience and wisdom rather than force or coercion. Respect and tradition mattered most. Rituals and customs played a significant role in maintaining social cohesion and passing down knowledge from one generation to the next. As humans learned to farm, settlements grew larger. The development of agriculture allowed people to stay in one place and build more permanent communities. This brought new challenges. People needed ways to organize labor and resolve disputes. The complexity of these growing communities required new forms of social organization and governance. Villages started to connect, forming loose alliances. These connections facilitated trade, cultural exchange, and mutual defense against common threats. These early societies weren't kingdoms yet. They were more like extended networks of communities, each with its own local leaders and customs. There were chiefs, elders, and religious figures. These individuals held significant influence within their communities, guiding them through both everyday life and spiritual matters. Their authority came from experience or spiritual knowledge. They were respected for their wisdom and their ability to connect with the spiritual world. These early forms of governance laid the groundwork for more complex systems. Over time, these simple structures evolved into the intricate political systems that would eventually give rise to the first civilizations.
Around 5,000 years ago, the first kingdoms emerged. These early societies were the foundation of human civilization. These were large, centralized states that brought together diverse groups of people under a single rule. They had powerful rulers, often called kings or pharaohs, who wielded immense authority over their subjects. Monarchs claimed divine right, asserting that their power came directly from God or the gods, which legitimized their rule. Kingdoms brought stability and organization. They built armies to defend their territories, collected taxes to fund their governments, and made laws to maintain order. They also fostered culture and art, commissioning grand works and supporting artisans. But monarchies had their problems. Power was often abused, leading to tyranny and oppression. People had few rights and were at the mercy of their rulers. Starting in the 17th century, people began to question the absolute authority of monarchs. New ideas about individual rights and freedoms began to spread widely. Thinkers like John Locke argued strongly for government by consent. Revolutions erupted in America and France. People overthrew their kings. They demanded a say in how they were governed and ruled. These revolutions gave birth to entirely new political systems.
Today there are many different political systems. These systems shape the way societies are governed and how power is distributed among the people. Each system has its own unique characteristics and principles that define its structure and function. Democracies give power to the people. In a democracy, citizens have the right to participate in decision-making processes, either directly or through elected representatives. This form of government is built on the principles of freedom, equality, and justice. Citizens vote for their leaders. This process ensures that the government reflects the will of the people. Regular elections are a cornerstone of democratic systems, providing a mechanism for accountability and change. Republics, like the United States, are a form of representative democracy. In a republic, elected officials represent the interests of their constituents, making decisions on their behalf. This system combines elements of democracy with a structured framework of governance.
Communism, on the other hand, seeks to create a classless society. It aims to eliminate the disparities between the rich and the poor by promoting collective ownership of resources and means of production. The ideology is rooted in the works of Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. It often involves a single-party state. In many communist systems, the government controls all aspects of political and economic life, with the goal of achieving a stateless, classless society. However, this concentration of power can lead to authoritarianism. Socialism emphasizes social ownership and worker control. Unlike communism, socialism can coexist with democratic institutions, allowing for a mix of public and private ownership. The focus is on reducing inequality and providing a safety net for all citizens. Most modern economies operate under capitalism. Capitalism is characterized by private ownership of property and businesses, with minimal government intervention. The market is supposed to determine the production and distribution of goods and services. This system values private property and free markets. It encourages innovation and competition, driving economic growth and development. However, it also creates significant disparities in wealth and access to resources. It has led to great wealth but also inequality. The concentration of wealth in the hands of a few can lead to social and economic tensions, prompting calls for reform and regulation to address these imbalances.
New economic models, like the sharing economy, are emerging. These models leverage technology to create more flexible and decentralized forms of economic activity, challenging traditional business structures and ownership models. They challenge traditional notions of ownership. By promoting access over ownership, the sharing economy aims to make more efficient use of resources and reduce waste. This shift has the potential to transform industries and reshape economic relationships. The future of political and economic systems remains a subject of debate and evolution. As societies continue to change and adapt, new ideas and models will emerge, shaping the way we live and govern ourselves in the years to come.